Today. Not forgot, I just didn't get to doing it.
Good morning, good morning. Shut. Short.
I think you already did all this.
Good morning, good morning.
Oh, hi, Lisa. Welcome.
Good morning.
We're talking about manifesting today. Who's ready to
Yes,
manifest?
we
It's
decided
Monday.
we were going to be talking about manifesting and motivation to go along with Monday. That's a good Monday theme. That's a good Monday theme. So along with talking about manifestation today, we're going to talk a little bit about what manifestation really is, what it looks like. And also, if you guys have any stories about manifesting in your life, we would love to hear them. We'll share some of ours as well. But I know especially with where the energy is at, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but manifesting is getting easier and easier for the average Joe.
Yeah, right.
At least you're becoming more consciously aware of what it is that you, or how you are manifesting things into your life. If you're like, I was just thinking about that, or you're saying, I really want this, and then it will just pop up into your reality. And honestly, this could be negative or positive, but we can mostly pay attention to the positives here. Good morning.
Sorry, guys. I'm just finishing some stuff up. Okay, I'm present. I am now present.
Hold on,
Yeah, we're rapidly manifesting, and you might see this in I know that some of the ways that we've been seeing it is it's not.
I think it goes through we go through phases of it being physical things, being information, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but also synchronicities. You were saying something about synchronicities, right? I was not completely tuned in, but
good morning.
Good morning. Hello, Nunai. I'm not sure how to say your name, but hello.
Hello, Martin.
Thank you for being here. Hi, Martin.
Good morning. Y'all, we are talking about manifesting today.
Yes.
Manifesting and motivation for Monday.
We want to know what it is that you want, and then we want to work on staying in a motivated mind space for everyone to get there.
Yeah.
Because everything that you want to manifest also it requires action. It requires divine action. So when you're trying to put something into, make something, a thought or an idea into a physical, tangible thing.
To materialize,
thank you. You don't want to just there's a lot of set it and forget it, put it out there. You only really have to ask once, but you also want to take action towards it. Mm-hmm. I always used to say, oh, thank you. Oh, they're saying it. Nunali, Nun-Ali. I would like to know too. Thank you for asking, Phoenix. So, I would always say if you were to ask the universe for something, or you were going to put out there I really want a new job, right? And then you just sit on your couch and you just wait and wait and wait. You're less likely to manifest what you're trying to create because...
Noonie.
Okay. Thank you. Because... Or is it Noonie? Noonie. The way you spelled it. My name is Crystal
okay.
Bell. Oh, okay.
Well, thank you, Crystal.
Crystal. That makes it easier. So... if you don't get up off your couch and go out and make yourself available, then it's harder for the universe to put things in your place, them in place for you. So I always say you set the intention, but then you make yourself available.
Right.
And what does that look like?
Yeah.
It looks like going out into the world. It looks like meeting people. It looks like interacting when spirit kind of leads you to interact. Don't shy away. It leads to opportunities popping in that you may not have that
previously would have like drawn yourself to.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, it's funny because there are so many different fundamentals to manifestation that a lot of people don't really think about.
Mm-hmm.
And it's super important to also realize like kind of like the background of, or not really like the background, but the inner workings of manifestation, and to be open. We always say this, be open to everything, but attached to nothing. Because if you are in the process of trying to manifest, you have to use your thoughts and you have to use your emotional body, along with your vision to create, right? Then we are called into inspired action. But sometimes when we're in the process of manifesting, we will have the opposite effect of things happen where we may get into a fight with someone, or something may fall out of our lives, or we may lose our job, but it actually is part of the manifestation.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Right. So that's really important to keep in mind as well, as it's so important not to judge your process when you are doing this.
Oh, thank you, Ryan. So I just want to stop by and tell you all, I love you all and appreciate what you all do. Save one, save 100.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for popping in to say that.
We really appreciate that.
Yeah. And thank you for the follow. Thank you. Spreading the love where we can, right? We're all just walking each other home. Okay, you were saying
just to not judge the process of when like you're doing these things, because a lot of times, you know, especially when you're new to manifesting, if you're really consciously trying to manifest,
thanks Martin.
We tend to try and go where we want to change those things we want to manifest those things in our life that we desire. But if you haven't done a lot of the healing work yet, there are things that need to move out of the way for that to happen. So yes, you are actually manifesting these things, but there are some things that may need to go in the process.
Mm-hmm. I've had moments where I wanted to do manifested, but I was ready in that moment. I wasn't ready in that moment or situation. Is that kind of what you mean? Because that happens a lot. Like there are a lot of times where we're like, come on, why isn't this happening? And hindsight is always 20/20, because you look back and you see that, okay, I wasn't ready for, okay, thank you. Thanks, Crystal. Yeah, like there's so many times where you're like, why isn't this happening? Why isn't this happening? And when you finally do reach it, you look back and you're like, oh, wow, I wasn't ready to handle that. You know, there have been a lot of times with like us growing
You're fine.
No, you're perfect. Growing our mission and growing our bit, and utilizing this as like a sustainable way of living. So like saying, we're not going to go get other jobs. We're going to do this for our living. And where was I going with this? That, we've put out there, like, okay, this, like, we're ready. And it was like a slow process. But then we realized that there are a lot of things that have to go in order to be ready. Like we had this experience last week with this video that took off, and there was a lot of negativity that came in, and we had to stop and we were like, are we ready for that? And the message I was getting was like, be careful what you wish for, because we're like, we're ready to grow, we're ready to reach more people. But when you reach more people, you're also reaching people who aren't of the light.
Now, since we've been on TikTok, we've had 7 videos that have gone viral. However, we've never had that type of backlash. Never.
Yeah. And it really felt
to
like
where it was just like pure hatred, you know?
Right. And we were like, that's what I kept thinking. It was like, wow, we weren't ready for that. You know, we weren't ready. So it's like, okay, now what can we do to build? Now we were working more on like, we always shield our energy when we get on here, but just in like looking at a different way and like looking at ourselves, like what is it that's still in there that made that so hurtful? You know? And so it's like, okay, now the universe is like, here, take care of this, and then we'll get you out there more, you know?
Right.
Even down to like clearing your space in your house. When you make room for energy and you make room in your body, clearing your house.
Good morning, Nancy.
Clearing your body. Sometimes those things need to happen before your manifestation takes place. I know a lot of people who went through a healing process trying to get pregnant, and they like changed their whole way of eating and the way that they like removing toxic chemicals from their home and all kinds of things. And it's like, did you see how after the fact, when you finally did have that baby, that you are a completely new person, and that was part of the journey? Because would you have done that? You know, you weren't ready. You weren't ready to house that being because you still had the toxins and all the things like not the right diet, whatever, to like, you know, that you're supposed to have for your path.
Yeah,
Good morning,
so
Nancy.
if you, guys, we're just following the flow of this, so it may seem a little all over the place, but we're just going with the flow. With what Lindsay is saying, another technique that you can do that we always say is to ask what you can do, like what you can do next, right?
Yeah, like what's the
show
next
me what's
step?
the next step.
What's the next step? Yeah.
So if you find like resistance or, I don't want, not backlash, but like...
Or like things don't seem like they're falling into place and you're
Yeah.
like, well, what, like, when am I going to get there? We were just talking about this last week when I was saying how I was like, and so many people were like, that's me. Where I was like, just give me my purpose. I'm ready to live it. I'm ready to step into it. And I used to say that all the time. And then lo and behold, one day this lady comes walking into my life and and my whole entire world like shifted, changed, fell apart. Next thing you know, I'm out of like my house, my comfort zone. I'm out of my relationship. I'm like parenting differently. Like everything changed. And I'm like, damn, that was big. It was like the universe is like, they're like, this is like what you needed to step in your purpose. Do you understand now why we made you wait? Like, so we got you.
Same
to
thing
a
with
point
me.
of,
I did the same thing. I'm like, you know, show me what my purpose is. Show me what my purpose is. I just want to step into my purpose. And I kind of like went into a dark night with that because I'm like, nothing's changing. Like, I'm not, like it was changing, but not
like
it
fast
wasn't
enough.
right.
That's
It
how I
wasn't
felt.
like working. It wasn't doing anything. And I was just like, you know, I don't know what else to like do besides not give up, but like screw this, you know? And then I did kind of go down the rabbit hole with like all like, so I figured there was more stuff I still needed to learn, but it just wasn't falling into place. And then I met Lindsay and then everything fell apart. For those of you who
also
don't
at the
know,
same
we
time-
are divine counterparts. So it was all part of like our mission and everything.
But it was at the same time as everything was
Good
falling
morning,
apart.
Rach.
Good morning. As everything was falling apart, and good morning, Emma. As everything was falling apart for us, everything also was coming together simultaneously. Like everything we needed for our mission together was coming together. Like the realizations we were having, and then things just started to fall into our lap. Like the things that we do now, we like laugh all the time because we were like, never saw this. Never like it, like your purpose isn't always something that you're gonna like pursue. Yeah, you're gonna have like passions, and so you're gonna follow it. But a lot of times you'll be led into like a little crevice of what you love that you didn't even know existed. I didn't know shadow work was a thing. I had no idea. And now here we are, and this is like what we teach people is like heal yourself and you'll heal your life and you'll step into
And
your
now
purpose.
we're the shadow work surgeons.
We are the shadow work surgeons. And we look at
It's
each other
what
all
we're
the time.
supposed
We're
to
like,
teach.
what? Like we had no idea, you know? What is shadow work? Well,
Good morning, Valerie.
good morning. Welcome. Shadow work is looking at the parts of you that are stuck in old patterning that came from traumas, past traumas, false beliefs that no longer serve you. And these are all things that run like a program in our subconscious mind and actually attract experiences to us. They dictate the decisions that we make. Like 90% of the decisions we make every day are based off of our subconscious programming. And so shadow work is going in and starting to remove those things so that you can run off your soul self instead of subconscious programming, which was created by the ego to keep you safe and keep you alive. But it's not necessarily concerned about you thriving. And when you step back into your soul self, you start to thrive and you do what you came here to do.
Yeah, so like in layman's terms, like if you think about how many times, like whether it's happened in your life or you've seen it in other people's lives, where they're like, I always end up in the same relationship. I always tend to do the same thing. Why do I always end up in a job that I hate? Right? Because it's patterns, it's belief systems that we carry, and we subconsciously run our entire lives off of these patterns. And you can't change your life until you change those patterns and those belief systems. And that comes along with healing. Like healing from the experiences that you went through, whether it be trauma, high stressors, you know, those life experiences that had created these beliefs in the first place. So.
And once you do start to remove those things, you start to operate, like I said, from your soul self. Your soul, and we always explain it to people as like your ego is in the driver's seat for a really long time because of like our experiences.
Yes, Crystal.
We're in a state of survival. And yeah, you're right. You can also give your kids that like pass down these patterns to your kids. And a lot of them came from generations before us. So a lot of these things were learned behaviors. And so it's like, it's not your fault. These were all cards you were dealt because your soul needed them to grow. And because we don't grow when we're comfortable. We grow when we're uncomfortable, unfortunately. Unfortunately.
Well, let's say fortunately, because that's another thing. You know, one of the biggest things that gears our life in all sorts of different directions is our perception and perspective. That's really what drives us and maneuvers us through life, is all based on of what we choose to perceive and our perspective of that scenario. So like with you saying, and it's so ingrained in us, we still catch ourselves saying that, but being uncomfortable, going through experiences where you have a wide range of emotions and like, you're like, this was really painful. This is really hard. I'm really, really uncomfortable. Okay? We are creatures of habit, and unless we have those experiences, we would not move. We wouldn't move off that island. We wouldn't move off that couch. If we had food laying around us, we'd just be sitting there like, right? It's just like everything's provided for us. It's all good, you know? I don't have to do nothing.
Yeah.
Right? Think about it. Like, you get comfortable, and when that comfortability is ripped from underneath you, you're like, wait, whoa. What a second. Wait. But how are you supposed to grow and evolve and become this higher evolved being? Especially here on Earth School, you are here. You had your remembrance of who you are on a soul level stripped from you when you came in. There's nothing wrong with that because it's the whole purpose of Earth. It's the whole purpose of this game called life. Because we are all masters to be here, to be on Earth. And for those of you who are new, we are... Let me just mention this. We are Spirit Council Medium. I'm a Spirit Council Medium. Lindsay is a multidimensional energy healer. We both do energy healing. We're life coaches, but we speak from our experiences, okay? So when you go into life here on Earth as a soul and you incarnate here, you are already a master manifester. You are here to manifest and create and all of your desires and what it is that you're here to do, finding your way back to source, finding your way back to your remembrance. Okay? So in order to do that, you have to remove everything that does not serve you and that's false aspects of yourself when you come in. Think of a kid who is, you see a kid run in their room and they're in the toy box and they're throwing stuff out of this toy box, right? And then they're like, and they grab and they're like, yes. And they find what they want, what they're looking for. Apply that same analogy to yourself, okay? Everything that's getting thrown out of this toy box are things that are sitting on top of your true authenticity, sitting on top of your truest essence, who you really are. And so we have to clear all that crap to get down to the bottom to where your true authenticity is sitting, your essence, so that you can start operating from that.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Valerie, we would love to have an appointment with you.
Yes.
And let us know if you have any questions. And we also we have payment options. So if that's difficult, we can work with you on that. And yeah, thank you, Jean. And Lisa said, counseling for years, finally found someone that understood me, saw him twice, and he died. We were starting to work on healing. Sometimes people are only meant to be in your life for a short time. And it may be that for him, it was for you to finally feel seen. Mm-hmm. To unlock a part of you that was holding back because you were nobody can relate to me.
Right.
I mean, that is pretty extreme that he died, but on a certain level, it's most likely you were a part of his story too, you know? Mm-hmm. But a lot of times when people are ripped out like that, it's you were only supposed to be they were only supposed to be in your life for a certain amount of time to give you something, and then you weren't meant to continue with them. And there's something there. That's why we're saying, ask, okay, what's the next step? Always ask the universe, ask spirit, okay, what's next? You know, that one that came and went, let's go on to the next. Emma said, I feel like I'm not living the life I'm meant to. And that's because you have so much more inside of you that you're ready to give to the world.
Yeah, that's because you're finally starting to wake up. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't have that feeling or be thinking that if you weren't in the process of awakening. Mm-hmm. That happens for everyone, whether
a very normal
subtle
feeling
or extreme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you doing, Emma? Like, are you studying? Like, are you drawn to the spirituality side of things? Like, obviously, if you showed up here, like, what are you doing? What are you working on? Are you like learning anything, like meditation? Are you reading books? Like, what have you been working on? And Crystal said, Emma, same here all my life. You guys, you are all star seeds. You came in knowing that you have a big shoes to fill on this planet. And the crazy thing is, we get really wrapped up in what our purpose is, but really when it comes down to it, we're here to anchor light. Mm-hmm. Because we are the way showers. We are the ones here to make the change. And we do that with energetic vibration. We do that by the more of us that wake up and remember who we are, our vibration and frequency rises. And because that rises, it allows the rest of the planet to rise with the earth that is also evolving. And so really, like, in whatever way that is, your job is to just be you and be the light.
Right.
Okay. And like for Andrea and I, when we get on here and we get to speak to you all and we get to teach, this is us being in the light. Mm-hmm. But for you, it might be like taking care of animals and showing love. It might be
music or art.
Yeah, exactly. Making music, making art, like whatever it is that like is where you feel passionate and the most connected to yourself and to source. That's where you shine, and therefore you're doing your job.
Oh, thanks, Nancy. She said, I highly recommend these ladies. I had a session with Lindsay and she helped me a lot.
Oh, thank you, Nancy. I loved our session. I know it was a lot in a short amount of time, so I hope you sent you the recording. So
that's why we record our sessions, because it literally is usually your counsel will come in and it's like a spirit dump.
They're like da 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 da, and you're like, all right, hold on. I literally told you.
Just be present.
I'm like, buckle up. Here we go. But yeah, so that's why we give you the recording, so you can go back, you can slow us down.
We're always like, don't worry, you're going to get a recording. Just stay present.
It's okay if this all blows right past you. Yeah. It'll all come back. And a lot of times, I love this, like, especially watching, when I started, when Andrea and I came together, I started, like, dishing her out to all my friends and family, and so I would like set her up like with some of my cousins and stuff to like work with her. And so they would text me like a week later. I'd be like, how did it go? They're like, yeah, it was pretty good. It was pretty good. And then like a week later, they're like, oh my God, I keep hearing Andrea's voice in my mind, reminding me that I need to like stay true to myself. And now I can't think of anything else because I know I need to do this. Or they would be like, oh my God, she said this and this. It didn't make any sense to me. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh my God, of course. So like it goes after the session, like you'll notice things after. It's like with the healing too. The healing session, you'll notice after the session, things start to change too, which is crazy.
I think the funniest part too is like when we're doing our sessions like that, and like that's us channeling. So a lot of times clients will be like, do you remember when you told me this? And I'm like, no, I was just the messenger. Like I'm just bringing through the message, but yeah, it's pretty fun.
If you guys ever have that come up after working with us, tell us what it is that we said. I was groggy all Saturday but Sunday I felt good. Good. Yay.
She felt so good. That's awesome.
That makes me so happy.
Yes. Crystal, whenever you're ready, we're here.
Like we said, we have, so if it's an issue of like finances, we have ways to like split up payments and everything too. So if it's like, whatever can like makes it easier, but you guys will know when it's time, you know? Yeah. I mean, I've had that where I, like in the past where I'm like, I knew, okay, I need to go work with this person. And it's like, I need to do it now. Like it would come in and all of a sudden, like, I need to work with them now. I need to make it work. So you'll feel it. You'll know when you're ready. But what was I going to say? Neck pain is almost non-existent. Oh my God, that is so cool. Oh, it makes me so, thank you. Thank you for letting me know, because that just like makes me so happy. And it's just like, you know, we always like no matter how much we do this stuff, like the miracles that happen are like, they still blow us away. It's like, because the human brain is still like has so much a hard time comprehending it.
And
so
this is like, our jobs. Like
yeah.
we do this every day and we see it every day, but it's still
every time
still
we're like, it worked.
Yeah.
Is everyone a starseed?
No. No, not everyone is a starseed.
How do you know if you're a starseed or an indigo child? Indigo children,
I think
would be
indigo children are more
a form of starseed.
They
right?
are a form of starseed, and they're a little bit more rare. Okay, so you have indigos, and then there's crystal. There's a lot of crystal children. There's a lot of rainbow children. Then you have what is known as diamond children, and the golden children. They are more. You don't see as many of them, but they're coming in. More so, they have scouts here, but they're not like fully here.
Like fully incarnated.
Yeah. What is a starseed? A starseed is a soul that does not originate from Earth. So I know, like, yeah, I'm like, how do I explain this without people thinking we're crazy? It doesn't matter. If you're here, you're on for the ride, okay? You can look this stuff up. All right, just take what resonates. But starseeds are souls that do not originate from Earth, okay? So they do not incarnate normally here. They're normally in some aspect of other area of our solar system. You want to call them ETs, you can call them ETs, okay?
Or galaxies, not just our solar system.
But it's not anything to fear, okay? It was a call that was put out to aid in the ascension process for Earth and for the humans here, okay? I'm a starseed. Lindsay is a starseed. It's not like we're not going to shapeshift and like this is here. It's not going anywhere. I'm not going to just pull this off. But they are highly evolved beings that are here to help heal and raise the vibration of the Earth while the Earth is moving into a higher dimensional. So we are going from 3 dimension to 5th dimension. And there are many, many different types of starseeds. Like think about like Earth. Okay. Humans, we are technically considered ETs. Okay. We're extraterrestrials to other beings out there. You have Earthlings. Okay. Then you have take the ones from Venus. You have Venusians. Okay.
Nancy.
The Pleiades. You have Pleiadians and so on and so forth. So their soul will incarnate here, just like if you incarnate into another life, same thing. Okay. You're just here on a mission or have a purpose to help heal and aid in the ascension process. And if you should look up ascension, and what ascension is, and that may help you understand. You can look up Starseed too, but just take what resonates.
One of the ways you can find out what kind of starseed you are is to actually book a session with Andrea, mediumship, Spirit Council mediumship reading, because a lot of times your star family will come through and you can learn a little bit more about your star lineage that way. But you can also look up to different types of star seeds and just see what resonates with you. Like you Google that, you're going to get like a list of the most common. And a lot of times it'll tell you like traits that they usually exhibit. And you may resonate with them and then you can kind of go from there. It really doesn't matter, but it is like kind of validating in that it makes you feel like, yes, I am part of something greater. And these feelings that I've always had are because of this. Like I'll never forget when I first learned what a starseed was. I was actually following Dolores Cannon. She has a lot of books. She has some YouTube things. She's not around anymore. She's crossed over, but she had a great explanation of the starseeds and how they came in and how it all started and why. And she, I found her on YouTube and was like, oh my God, this sounds like me. But I felt like, oh, that can't be me. I can't be that special, And until I met Andrea at a workshop I was hosting, and she came up to me afterwards and was like, just so you know, I'm a medium. And she's like, do you know what a starseed is? And I was like, I just learned this a month ago.
Lindsay's star family was there. Like I could see them. They were these huge bird beings. And I was like, ugh. Yeah. So I was like, they were like, we need to speak with her. And then that's the first time that they showed up for me in physical form, like seeing them.
And you had never read someone's star family before, right?
I have, but I've never, they never came through like, yeah, it was like through their counsel, not them showing up legit, like right there behind you saying, you know, we need to speak to her.
But I was
the
so
first time.
like I was so excited because because she knew nothing about what I had just learned, and she basically just validated what. So you can ask.
It does. It can help in a lot of different areas, especially as you evolve and grow more. You do the healing work. Your gifts are coming online. It will help you understand your gifts a little bit more and why. Okay?
Yeah.
Because like for me, I'm Syrian. I'm like my soul origin. I came in through Sirius, but I mostly resonate with Venusian because I spend, like, my soul chooses to spend a lot of time there when I'm not, like, bouncing in other lives. I've done a lot of, my soul has gone to, like, multiple mystery schools to, like, learn and learn and learn and learn. And I specialize in psycho-spiritual somatics of the mind, of the psyche of the soul. I wouldn't have known that if I didn't, like, really continue to strengthen my relationship with my star family to understand that aspect about myself. But it makes so much sense. Like, so much.
Mine, I don't know as much like origins. I don't really care that much, but I know that I feel very connected to my star family when I'm working, when I'm doing energy work, because they actually come in and they help me and they like teach me things and they work through me and we do psychic surgeries together. And so for me, when I connect with them, it feels like Grey's Anatomy. I'm like on this team and I'm like, all right, guys, let's all get together and get this done. And it feels very like serious and it's like a job and it's, I connect with them very much in the present moment and not really like, I've been told, I can't even remember that, like, I don't remember stuff about do you remember anything with my stuff with like, I don't know. I really don't.
You did, yeah. Lindsay's like, okay, yeah, but
as far as like schools or whatever, like, I know that I've been connected with mystery schools, but I feel like a lot of it has been around healing. Yeah,
a lot of yours has been more so the healing, but here, like you've been here, like you've incarnated here several times. Like Lindsay has connections to,
Lisa.
I'm getting ready to look it up. I can tell you all day long, but I know, I want to respond to Rage too. Can you explain what an indigo child is and a crystal child? Yes, I'll explain that. But for Lindsay has a lot of ties to like back in the times of like Jesus. Like in one life, she was a part of the 12 disciples. That shit, when I saw that, like that blew my mind. I was like, get out of Dodge. Like there's no... But it was, I always saw Jesus around her. Always. Jesus was always around her. And I'm like, do you realize like you just walk around with Jesus? Like Jesus just is with you all the time. Like just hangs out with you. And so we started to like dig further. And I know we did some healing sessions together when I went in and started removing stuff from, remember when I was seeing you as a little girl and you turned around and saw me and I was like, holy shit, you saw me cleaning stuff out of you. And then you even recognized me. And I was like, I can't, when I can't, like,
she was going to like a past version of me. Like, when I was like a little girl, she like kind of went back to heal me.
Yeah. And when I pulled you out of it, I came out of the healing session. I was like, you saw me, like you saw me and then you recognized who I was at that young of an age. And I was like, that's freaking crazy. But what shortly came after that was seeing you walking with Jesus. And around the time, then there was like the time of like Noah. And like, so there was a lot of like healing and preaching that Lindsay did here. So there was a lot of your past lifetimes, most recent ones have been done here. But before that, she's like just strong blue avian all the way. And blue avians are believed to come from another universe completely.
I do want to throw in that, like, so the things that you are drawn to most likely like mirror what type of starseed you are, like where you come from. So yeah. I was always drawn to birds from like day one. Like when I was like really little, we have freaking birds. We have like, I've always had birds. I've always had birds in my life. And I've always been obsessed with ancient civilizations. And like since I was a little kid, I was like, I'm going to go to Egypt one day. I was like 7 and I was like, I'm going to Egypt. I'm going to go see the pyramids. I'm going to connect with them. I'm going to whatever. So like, look at those things that you kind of, for a really long time, you've had passion about. Okay. So Emma said, I'm drawn to numbers. Like we were just reading something about like numbers and mathematics, that's like numbers are so cool because numbers are like, it's like coding for the universe. Mm-hmm. So it could be that like, I know that like Andrea had tuned in with my son before and she was like, or was that you? Yeah. He's building star systems in his sleep. You're working with numbers and building things. Thank you, Martin,
for the lives. Guys, tap the screen, share the live.
Thank you, guys.
Sorry, I'm not reminding everyone to do this. I'm drawn to numbers too. I have an accounting degree.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised if you are down the lines of like Arcturian or Orion. The Arcturians, the Orions, who else?
Very like mental oriented.
They are very mental beings. Very mental beings.
Yeah, and I just see with numbers, it's like numbers are used for creation. Mm-hmm. Numbers are used as like the coding of the universe. Numbers and sacred geometry.
So Emma,
they go hand in hand.
You may see that it's probably easier for you than the average person to manifest, honestly, because it feels like you're able to kind of rise a little bit above like the emotion aspects.
And Crystal
Noonie said, what? Look, she said, I have an accounting degree.
I can organize numbers in my head. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, those things that you naturally do very well, you do really well on a soul level.
Hold on.
Too.
I thought
they both were saying that. So there's two of them. Like Emma was saying I'm drawn to numbers, and then Crystal was saying that she has an accounting degree and she's drawn to numbers.
Okay.
And she can organize numbers in her head. Yeah.
Yeah.
So chances are like you're working with numbers on like our souls are doing work when we are not aware of it. Mm-hmm. Our souls are doing work in our sleep and when we're like you zone out or whatever. Sometimes like spirit will just have one of us take a nap. It happened yesterday. I was like, they're taking me out. I was like, and I just fell asleep.
One good indication of a way that you can start looking more into the starseed origins is pay attention to the fundamentals of the elements in your life. Meaning, are you more drawn to the elemental realms? Okay, because that's going to be that part's going to be important.
Elemental realms is
like animals,
fairies,
gnomes, like the
woodland creatures. Hey Jackie, you're wearing it. Send us a picture.
What?
Send us a picture. I want to post it today, girl. We need to see it.
Yeah.
Yay!
Yes.
Thank you for sharing.
What do you think?
Yeah, tell us what you think. Tell us how it turned out. Because it's e-commerce, so we don't like physically touch it. They put it together and they make it and send it. So we're gonna have some in our physical reality pretty soon. But
that's hard for me because I'm like, but I want to package everyone to make sure that it is going out exactly how we had it.
Yeah.
And the energy's not disrupted. Although I worked with the archangels on this, they're like, don't worry, the energy's not gonna be destroyed. What we put in. I'm like, okay.
The intention.
So I am having a hard time with that. I'm like having a hard time letting go. I'm like, okay, it's like okay. But do we have time to roll all that merch out? No, we don't.
But the energy and the intentions are still there. So send us a picture. You can send it on Instagram and let me know if it's okay to like repost.
Love it. It's good quality. Yay. Soft, thicker material. Whoop,
whoop. For the unisex tea. Awesome. Yay. Oh, I'm so excited. I can't wait to see it. Yay. Thank you for sharing.
So for those of you who don't know, we do also have our own merch line. The link is in our bio. And it is a newer project in love of ours that is going to continue to grow massively. But we do nonetheless have some stuff available.
Yes. Along those same lines, I just wanted to throw out too, some of you may already be subscribing to us here on TikTok, and some of you, I think TikTok pops up and asks you, and I just want to let you know that Tuesdays are subscriber only lives. So we, tomorrow is going to be a subscriber only live chat. So when you get on, only subscribers can chat. So therefore, like, it's like a more personal space for you guys to like get us kind of one-on-one. And we don't have as many people, like sometimes we get a lot of random people, trolls and things like that. So if you do subscribe, you get that. Also, you get added to our raffles. And so we are, how many more people we need for the next raffle?
I think we only need 2 before we do our next raffle.
Our next raffle? Okay.
No, 4.
Yeah. Well, we were 2 I think because 2 subscribers it like didn't resubscribe.
Oh, okay.
So we need 2 more to
Yeah.
hit the next one where we're gonna give away a energy body scan with me. So waiting for my paycheck to buy the chakra hoodie. Yay!
Yes, girl.
I think it has like a buy now pay later option too if you need to like.
Yeah, that is the one thing that we do love about
Yeah.
the company that we're working with. They do have a buy now or buy now pay later option or break it up.
Yeah.
So,
But anyway, back to like star seeds, right?
Yeah.
I
want
was
to
gonna
Rach, you're still on here, right?
Oh, you were talking about like
wanna-
if you're connected with like elementals, and if you're connected with who would that be? What kind of star seeds would that be?
So, okay, so indigo children are I personally don't really like all the definitions. Well, I don't like them, but because I am an indigo child.
I see it as just like the latest model. So like how the iPhone came out and then the iPhone 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like the waves of starseeds that came in to make the change. They've been categorized as like the indigo children, the crystal children, the rainbow children.
I really there's an essence and energy that I think each like kind of bring in to benefit, like it's just the essence of who they are, and it shows up in your auric field. So that's where the
color comes from.
Yeah, you hold a certain frequency. These beings hold a certain frequency, and but it shows where they're like the evolution of that soul is at too. Like they have higher evolutions, but it doesn't mean anyone's better than or less than.
Right. It's just different state. Like our generation, we were the last generation to kind of like look at our parents and then say, I need to make the change. I need to be something different. I need to start looking at myself. And so our generation, we are like late 30s. We are like Andrea and I, we see a lot of people who are like, I'm ending generational trauma. Like everything that happened to me happened to the things that happened to me, I'm the last one. Because this also happened to my parents, and happened to my grandparents, and happened to my great-grandparents, and I'm the one that's like the showstopper. So a lot of you, if you're like around like that age, like 30s, 40s, a lot of you are, it can be older too. But a lot of you are the showstoppers. You're like, this ends with me.
So here's just one article that I found that I would say has like the best like kind of truth around it.
Sorry, Crystal. Yes, your parents can be also they could have been the first waivers. So they started coming in. I think Dolores Cannon says they started coming in the 1950s, and then you had the 60s. You had like the flower children, the hippies. So they were all part of it. And each decade, it gets like stronger and more, they are able to hold more vibration.
Yeah, but you usually have so indigos were usually born into families like that have kind of like a disarray, like their family's kind of like in a disarray, or like you have like traumatic childhoods.
Nancy says I'm the black sheep. Yeah,
you're usually the black sheep. I was the black sheep in my family. You usually come from like a lot of trauma.
Hi,
for
Miss
like
Haley. Good
for
morning.
indigos. Now I'm not saying that's for all of them, but a good portion of indigos usually tend to like face that. Then indigos usually give birth to crystal children or rainbow children. But then but a lot of crystal children will give birth to rainbow children. And then, like I said, you have diamond children and golden children that are starting to come in, but there's not a lot of them.
They're the newest.
They are the newest. Okay. But
hi, Caitlin. Thank you for the rose.
So an indigo child
black sheep as well.
is an upgraded blueprint of humanity, essentially. Okay, it says oh, damn, I lost my... Gifted children on a clear mission to challenge and shift reality first began appearing in the 1970s. Beyond psychic awareness, they are highly driven and creative with a perception that sees through the established norms of societies. Old souls indeed, they are. Indigos are very old souls, okay? Their mission is clearly laid out to shake up the modern world and pave the way for future generations to create greater peace and harmony for all. Both of these generations of children are well into their teens and adulthood, so don't allow the label to dissuade you from exploring the concept of indigo children. And then there's like traits that they have. I can read a couple of them, but so you feel spiritually awakened. You're destined to be here. You have high expectations of yourself and others. You have a strong intuition. You question authority. You also question reality. You want to overturn the man. Now, some of these I don't necessarily agree with, but
I want to overturn the man, so I agree with that for myself.
You are creative. You are a change maker. You are a lost soul. Okay,
meaning you feel out of place with others.
Yeah,
so,
I would say I don't like the way that's worded, but it says you feel out of place with others as you recognize you are different than most people. That's a common starseed trait.
Yeah.
Period.
Hi, Myra.
Hello. You are passionate and focused. Not necessarily true. I have a terrible time being focused, and that's because it's a harder. Starseeds have a harder time being in the 3D, doing the 3D life, 3D realm, 3D world. Almost. This is my own opinion. I think it's all of them, but a lot of kids that you see that are considered ADD, ADHD, bipolar, so on and so forth. They're all gifted, and most of them are starseeds and light workers. Okay. Because they just can't, they're not made to fit in. None of us are made to fit in here because we're here to change things.
I just want to throw in, Andrea and I, when we first, started, coming together and started learning more about each other, we realized we both had one of our, favorite songs, both of us, is Third Eye Blind, Semi-Charmed Life. Mm-hmm. And that song always reminded me, because they say, I want something else to get me through this semi-charmed kind of life.
Yeah.
And it's that it just doesn't fulfill me. And so it was just crazy that, the two of us both, the first time, one of us, she played it, and she's like, this is one of my favorite songs. I was like, this is one of my favorite songs. Because I think on a subconscious level, before we realized, it was it was speaking to that feeling of, I know there's more to this. I need more than this, this facade that I'm experiencing as what they call life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love
Here's
that song.
one quick thing about crystal children. That they may take longer than normal to begin talking. They are highly telepathic and they're tuned in. Mothers communicate with them non-verbally. That happens a lot. Because they are so sensitive, the crystal children babies may fuss and cry a lot in crowded places. They are also very fond of nature. But, let me see this one.
Spirit came in. This person says, hi, I am a blue ray from the Milky Way Galaxy Andromedan Guides.
Ooh.
I like that.
Well, welcome.
I'm not familiar with blue ray.
The blue ray?
No. Oh, the blue ray, the ray of the rays.
The blue rays.
Okay, the blue rays.
But
okay.
The rays I don't think we've ever
not
really...
the DVD. Yeah.
No, there's different rays.
The purple rays,
Most crystal children are born after 2001. They're earthly peacemaking children, specifically here to make the world a better place. So essentially what this kind of looks like is you have the first wave of starseeds coming in, they're just called the first wave. You do have second wave, that's where you start to find your indigos, okay? Then your third wave is the crystal children, the rainbow children, so on and so forth. So the first wave came in and essentially started to make way silently for the second waves to come in. Mm-hmm. The second wave starseeds have come in to basically disrupt the matrix and what is taking place here. So it's to shake things up, to start challenging authority, start challenging the suppression and everything else and starting to break that up. And then you have the newer generations, the rainbows, the crystals, the diamonds and so on and so forth that are now building this new reality, because they're coming in and saying, okay, this is how we're supposed to live. This is what's bringing us into Christ, because they come in completely online, being connected to Christ consciousness and everything else. That is also why you see that the powers that be, well, they're not really powers that be anymore, but the way that our system and society is created is to literally take down our children. There's a purpose for that. Mm-hmm. Okay? Because they are well aware of these children and what these children possess and what they're here to do. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of things that are geared towards that.
Feeding them toxic food.
The things that we're
putting
feeding.
Chemicals into their bodies.
Yeah. Music that they're listening to. The school system. Everything. It's all designed.
Mm-hmm. And to get them to conform. But they're not going to succeed.
Crystal
because
children,
these kids are beyond that.
Yeah. Crystal children possess special spiritual gifts and are often diagnosed with autism or on the autism spectrum. Crystal children are unique in their ability to say what's on their minds and bright light, love, and joy to others. So they do draw people in.
Emma said, my son isn't talking yet, loves outdoors and fusses a lot. Yeah, my son was like a very miserable little baby. And I always felt like he was having a hard time, like he was just having a hard time being in this energy. He was very frustrated. And he took a little while to talk to.
Okay, somebody's kid in here. Noonie, I don't know if it's yours, but I just saw this little child with like curly hair and bright blue eyes.
That Crystal and Emma, like, we're like the same person.
I know.
I know they were both talking about like being obsessed with numbers.
Ezra. I love that name.
Me too.
I love that name.
Funny. That's what I wanted to name Trey. I wanted to name him Ezra. Nobody else agreed with me. Like the band better than Ezra? Yeah.
Rach, is Rach still on here?
I'm not sure. Rach, you still here? She always just like pops in. She's like, I'm here.
I know.
Nobody agrees with me either.
Okay. So some of the traits of crystal children that you'll see are they usually are like they possess like spiritual gifts. They're in tune with their inner voice. So a lot of people are like they're defiant, right? And then rainbow children, oh, you don't. It doesn't. Rainbow children, they're like pecking order. What? No, that's not how we do things here. Yeah. We
Emma
have 5 of them, we know.
Yeah, right. Emma said, my son has very curly hair, but big brown eyes.
Big brown eyes.
Do the eyes come in like symbolically for you to like show you?
That's what I'm like. I don't, maybe because Marley
I was
did
gonna say
that too.
a physical like depiction may not always match up with like what their soul looks like.
Noonie and Emma, y'all need to hook up outside of this.
Yeah.
Like, I think y'all like soul sisters here.
Lisa said, I'm obsessed with rocks and my grandson is the same way. It's crazy. That's so cool. And then you can connect on that level and like teach them. That's the best. That's the best.
Yeah.
I know. I love how that comes together. This is part of like why we do what we do. Because this is also like building our tribe, our community. Because so you guys can connect with each other too. You know? And we have a lot of people who like have followed us on live and have become good friends with each other. It's like so cool.
Okay, so real quick, it says they do not have a need to manipulate others. So they're very blunt. They are earthly in many cases. Crystal. Okay. Crystal children are either autistic or on the autistic spectrum. Okay? There are a lot of people that are like society would deem autistic or on the autistic spectrum that we don't even know. All right.
We don't even know what. We
don't even know. Like, there's so many adults that are like, holy crap, I'm autistic. Like, I didn't even know I was autistic. Or I didn't even know, so on and so forth.
I was reading about it the other day.
I personally am not a big fan of labels, but...
No. I was reading it yesterday because I'm trying to learn more about, like, some of our kids and the things that they exhibit. And a lot of, like, things that happen within autism, it's like these highly sensitive kids coming in and then having trauma. And they shut down really quickly. And they're like, I'm not going to mess with you guys in society because I have a job to do. And so they like close everybody out. And so I was learning a little bit more about this and I was reading about it and I was like, well, hell, I'm probably I'm like, I have some of this, you have some of this kid has it, this kid has it. I'm like, we could all be labeled parts of like autism spectrum because in essence, we've all had, because of traumas, a lot of us have shut down different parts of us to make us inaccessible to more trauma. Yeah. If that makes sense.
Okay. So Noonie, I think it may be your son that's here because because I read this, I'm like, in my head, this is how it goes in my head. Okay, Noonie says, yeah, my son is very shy. And he said, no, please explain to her that it's the energy. So I want to tell you this.
Well, she said, but with me, he's so open and tries to sing and dance.
Yeah.
So that makes sense.
When most of the time, and this isn't just for your son, Crystal, this is for a lot of children, especially these newer children that are coming in, they're online, they're gifted. They can sense energy from a mile away. Okay. And if that person doesn't even have to be bad, if that person's got a shit ton of stuff going on, they're stressed out, they were just yelling, fighting with their husband or their wife or whatever, or like they're just got a lot of drama around them and everything. These kids are like, that's toxic. That's toxic. Don't bring that around me. Or if somebody's energy has no boundaries and it's just like, let me in your auric field, these kids are like, back up.
Yeah, that old way of being where you'd like go to a family event and be like, go kiss great Aunt Agnes. And like, they're like, you can't force these kids to do that stuff because they feel energy and like you have to trust them on it because like my daughter especially, there was like a time where she was really upset that one of our friends was over the house visiting and we had seen this guy all the time. He was always over. And then it was like when you and I we had a long distance relationship and she was like tuning in with him and she's like, something is off in his energy. Like he has shit coming up and he's got this like toxic energy spewing out and Andrew's like, she's feeling it. Don't force her to be around him. Yeah. Cause she really just like people that were like family to us, all of a sudden she just shut down when they were over. And that was why. Yeah. I don't know if you remember that. Again, you're like, I channeled it. I don't remember. But yeah.
Who was that again?
Tom.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he had a lot, like a friend of ours, good friend, and he just started having stuff coming up and wasn't dealing with it and was covering it up with drinking. And my child could feel it and was like, I don't want to be around him.
Yeah. You're welcome, Rach. I'm still going. I'm going to spit out a couple more of these, but then I want to show you guys the difference of like these other children that are coming in. So they usually have, so they often have unusually colored and round eyes. Crystal children are physically and mentally sensitive. They are spontaneous and may act without regard for consequences.
Thanks, Caitlin.
Crystal children love climbing and have a strong sense of balance. Well, that's the first I've heard of that. They are very affectionate and may lack personal boundaries. That is true. Where they're comfortable, they may not have a lot of boundaries when it comes to like affection. They exude love for their families, pets, and friends. They are honest. Sometimes honest to a fault. Like, they can come off really blunt and rude, but they're just...
One of the things that I had heard in the beginning when I was researching crystal children before my son was
born... And they love crystal. They'll be very drawn to crystals. Yeah. Sorry.
They were like, you can't lie to them. Like, you can't lie to them because they'll feel it. They'll know.
They do know.
Yeah.
Like, they'll come up and they're like, why are you angry? And you're like, I'm not even talking to you in a tone. But you know in your head, you're like... Oh God. Like they'll pick up on that. Or if you can't hide the fact that you're stressed or anything, they'll come, why are you so stressed out? Why are you so stressed out? And then they try to take it on for you. So you got to be careful with that because their kids will always try to heal their moms. They will. Like hands down. They always try to heal their moms.
Crystal said my oldest is so blunt. We got one of those too. Or a few of those. I just posted a selfie of me in the merch on Insta and tagged you. Thank you! Woohoo! Yay! Thank you! Thanks so much, Jackie! I'm like, I want to look at it right now. I was like, stay focused.
So a rainbow child is usually born to a crystal adult. Rainbow children choose to incarnate into stable families, whereas their processors, the indigos, choose dysfunctional environments. Okay? So that's because they're like, look, we're here to do big things. Like, I need a stable home. I need, like they come into a place where they can be accepted and cultivated. Like their energy is respected, it's encouraged, and is cultivated. Rainbow children will come into those types of homes. Rainbows are new souls. They come without the baggage of previous incarnations. So they tend to, a lot of times rainbow children, people, they definitely are believed to be on the autistic spectrum, but they think they're very immature. Usually rainbow children are considered very immature, but they just, because they're like bouncing around through life. And they're not used to being here in this realm of like the darkness and stuff.
How do you see because I know that like, we haven't talked about this in a while, but I know like when we started like talking in the beginning, you were like, okay, your daughter is a rainbow child. Your son, I forget what you said he was, but he's something weird. But how do you physically see, because I've never really like looked into that. How do you see that show up in people's like energy if you're like reading somebody? What does it look like to you? Do you look at their aura or is that just information that comes
It's an energy that they have. So I don't really see the color of it in their aura. It's just an energy. So, okay, so like when I read information, I'm reading, like when I'm channeling or when a soul comes up to me, whether it's living or deceased, they step into my vibration. Hey. Like, hey. Sorry, my phone beeped. I got like, so they step into my vibration or they'll show up and then it literally starts to download like a computer system, like like a virtual screen in front of me, like all of this information about them.
Okay.
And then...
So you're not like seeing it like physically?
No. Well,
sometimes, right?
Yes, I do see them physically, but it's not like how they say, okay, you see this in their aura. They don't come to me showing me their auras. They come to me in physical form. Like they show up and then they'll tell me.
Okay.
Usually. And then I'll get all the information. They'll download their information into me. And then I usually step into their essence. So I hear what they, hear, see, like what they're thinking, what they're feeling, so on and so forth. So that's how that...
I was just thinking, I'm like, well, I tune in with people's energy fields. I'm like, I probably could look at the colors in there, and I have done that with people, but I don't typically work with children. So I haven't really done that, but I would definitely be open to trying if anybody is like both of us. If you ever want to know more about your kid, especially like how they work and that's one of the things we have done in the past. We haven't done it in a little while.
We haven't had a lot lately, but we have worked with kids.
We do work with kids. So if you guys are like, I want to know more about like what my son is doing here and why, like what kind of kid is he and how can I parent him better? That is something we can do in a session.
Yeah,
we used to do it more.
I used to do it a lot. I used to work with a lot of parents. This was probably like, I want to say years ago. It wasn't years ago. It was probably like 5 years ago. I worked with a lot of parents who had children who were on the autistic spectrum. I used to also work with people who had like strokes or, and anyone who was nonverbal. But mainly I worked with a lot of parents that had autistic children. To help bring through, because I can communicate and step into and speak for souls that are living too. They don't have to be crossed over. And I tell you, it is one of the most rewarding things that I do in my job. I love working with these children because they are so freaking amazing and they're so misunderstood. And so that's where I'm like, I get a chance to say, hey, I see you. This makes me emotional because there are so many of them that are like just misunderstood. I'm like, I see you, I hear you, and I can help you, I can advocate for you. And it's so crazy. It can be things where like the child's like, please stop telling my mom to vacuum. I can't handle the vacuum. I cannot handle the vacuum. I can't handle socks on my feet. Please stop trying to put socks on my feet. Hey, when I come home, I'm full of everybody else's energy. I need to get this out. So where there used to be a full-blown screaming tantrum, kid breaking things, now they're bolting it down the street, coming back home, sitting, laughing, doing art while they're eating their snack, everything, because the parents know what that child needs because they're not speaking it for themselves.
And it's hard to know sometimes because there's so many factors. You're like, is it something you're eating? Is it something the way you slept? Is it something, are you sick? Are you whatever? Like, why are you acting this way?
I think one of the craziest sessions I had was a mom. I had done a reading for her son who's autistic and nonverbal. And it was such an amazing reading. About 6 months later, she booked another session with me and she brought his aide from school. So the woman who was his aide and working side by side joined in so that she would know what this child was saying too. That was cool. That was cool. I was like, now get it, mama. You know?
Emma said, do kids choose their mothers? Yes. They make there's like, I was just reading something about this and I love the way that it was worded. They were like, it's a 3-part process because the mother's choosing, the father's choosing, and the child is choosing, all to incarnate together, all to bring that child through in whatever way that looks. So, yes, they choose, even choosing like situations where it's like maybe one parent exits at some point. They choose that because it's all part of their soul journey.
Yeah.
I'm going to cry. I love my kids so much. Oh, I know this really does like tug on heartstrings when you start to connect with the kids. And like it's so hard sometimes when you're so swept up in like the day to day with kids. And it like, you get this new, like you look at them with a whole different appreciation when you understand on a soul level what's actually happening. And that's something that drastically changed my relationship with my daughter because she and I butted heads for a very long time. We still do sometimes. But that reminder of like on a soul level, she's transmuting energy every single day. So big energies in the world, she's taking them. We call her the dehumidifier. And I'm like, you're filtering this out and you're transmuting energy and you're making the world a better place. And I'm like, that's got to be a big job. How can I support you? You know? How can I help you bring energy through your body? Instead of saying, you're not conforming and I don't know what to do with you.
Although it's hard now because
in the beginning.
We have 3 teenagers, a preteen, and then a younger one. And as they start to grow and get older, like, yes, they're listening to us. I'm surprised my son, who's 15, he plays it off like he's not listening to me, but he does, like, he applies what we teach and everything. But
he'll like randomly kind of like throw it in.
Yeah,
and he's like,
they're at that age now where they're like, oh, all right, I don't want to hear this anymore.
Yeah.
But guess who comes running down the stairs when they're not feeling good, got a stomach ache, and they're like, can you please pull this energy out of me? Please. My youngest is like, can you do energy work every single night? Can you do energy work? And he's like, how could you tell your son no? I have energy stuck in my feet. And I'm like, now you want to pull it out?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Well, one of the oldest, he wasn't feeling good before school. And he's like, there have been a couple of times where we're like, you just need to open up your crown chakra. You need to ground. And he's like, how did that work so well? And so now he's like, next thing you know, it was like he was home from school like a week or 2 ago and didn't feel good. And he was like, my head hurts and my stomach hurts. He goes, my head hurts. And he's like, we're like, you probably need to go out and ground. We're like half asleep. Oh, hold on a second. And
which one is it?
I think the repair guy is here. Just don't mind us for a second.
So he was having a stomach ache and a headache, and it was causing like a lot of like discomfort. And I think, were you gonna explain the part of?
She's on a call.
Hi, of the where he had already did it. Yeah. No. I'll just finish it. I'll just tell my side of the story. So he was like, I'm not feeling good. And I'm like, okay. So I check him and I'm like, you're dehydrated. And then he's also a transmuter. So he pulls in so much energy, which a lot of times problem children tend to be transmuters because they literally suck up to transmute darker energy. And especially like if they're in public mainstream school, they're like sucking this stuff in from all these kids around them. And then they come home and they're like losing their shit because they can't handle it. And most of the time they don't know how to ground themselves, especially if they don't really go out and play outside a lot. So that's one thing that we're constantly, like all of our kids, of course, like most kids, you know, they love being on games and everything like that, but we have to like push them outside. We actually have, they kind of look like really, what do they call it? Side missions. I don't know if you've ever heard your kids talk about this, but like where they try to avoid their parents when they're like in the middle of a game because they're going to get sent on a side mission. I think it's something like that because our kids are like, you're always side missioning us. Anyways, because we're like, you need to go outside, you need to ground. Like we literally, it's almost like a chore. We send them out. We're like, you need to go outside and ground. Like shoes off, feet on the ground, go out there and ground. Yeah. Fortnite. Side quest. That's what it is. Side quest. They're like, you're always side questing us. So they actually like run. You'll hear them like run. They'll like run through, or they're just like, they'll try to be unseen and just move real quickly. And we're like, what are you doing? They're like, well, you're gonna side quest us. Thanks, Miss Haley. But nonetheless, so I was just like, okay, you're dehydrated, like you got stuff going on. And he's like, I'm like, you should probably do a crown pull. And he's like, I already did the crown pull. I already tried to ground myself. So he had applied everything that we had, you know, taught him previously. So that was pretty cool to see him do that. There was a couple things I did want to mention. Sorry, I don't know. Like this, I guess this is the route we're going today. Rainbows, I already read that. Okay, they are hyperactive and high energy. You may even feel a buzz when you are near one as personal energy fields vibrate so intensely. For those that need healing, usually get triggered by these children, okay? Because it starts to bring up what needs to be healed to actually heal. But that freaks people out and plays out as like a trigger, like they get annoyed or frustrated or triggered by that person, they gotta walk away. That happens a lot with rainbow children. They gravitate towards other rainbows, joining together to form a super high energy bond. So you'll notice that if you see kids get together and they're just like, you feel like an atomic bomb's about to go off in your living room or outside, because you're like, you could just feel the energy, like, because they get so wound up. That's usually a good sign indicator of rainbow children. They're natural healers. They do share some physical characteristics as with crystals. Yes, they do, such as their big eyes. It says crystal children look deep into your soul. You will never feel judged by a rainbow child. So you just feel more like love and stuff emanating off of them. It's not that there's anything wrong with crystal children. I do this. It's definitely big with like indigos as well, but it's because we see those things that need to come up and to be healed. They are strong-willed. Once you might have described them as stubborn, but this is not the case. They are focused on their reasons for being here, and anything else is just a distraction. It is common for rainbow children to not talk until 3 or 4 years old. A little like crystal children, but more so. They are tuned into the cosmos and don't need to communicate verbally. They are quite aware of what is going on around them. Yeah.
Sorry for the disruption.
And they usually have they're not very fearful of many things. So parents usually get scared because they're like, you'll just do anything. There's no regard for your safety, but it's because they don't really have fear.
Which one is that? Crystal?
Rainbow children.
Rainbow, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of them trust themselves.
More
than we trust ourselves, and that can be a trigger.
Yeah.
I must say, my son is so stubborn and very aware, although he doesn't talk much yet. Also doesn't fear anything. Oh, his daycare teacher tells me that always. Oh, my son used to jump into the pool, and I'd be like, you have to tell me when you're jumping so I know that I have to catch you. Mm-hmm. And he just was in there. He didn't care. He would scare people to death because he would let himself sink to the bottom, and he would stand down there and walk and look around, and people would be like, is he okay? And I'm like, yes, he's fine. Because he's just down there at the bottom looking around. I was like, oh my God. But always with this kid climbing on things that he shouldn't, and just scaring the crap out of people, especially people who were not part of our immediate circle would see him doing things and they'd be like, oh my God, is he okay? But I have watched this kid fall from places and literally catch himself with one arm and swing. And I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, diamond children, I'm just going to give you a few characteristics of diamond children. They are said to have begun coming in. Obviously, there's scouts for all of these. So you will have ones that will come in to see if where everyone is, the evolution of the planet is even ready for these beings to be here, so that they don't come here and not flourish. So they started coming in early 2000, and then the first one started to come in more so in 2012, 2013.
He just said we got a weighted vest for my hyper nonverbal son to slow him down. It made him stronger. He's weightlifting. That's hilarious.
But they are ones there's only a small percentage of them. They essentially stopped coming in around 2020. Apparently that's what's been said. So diamond children, they are the ones that look very sweet. Okay. They are very active, children. They love to talk. They love to touch. Okay. They feel and experience life on Earth. So they're very sensory based. Okay.
I swear they think they can fly.
Their high sensitivity will be affected by strong lights, harsh noises, and cruelty, and extreme weather and temperatures. Again, very sensory based. Mm-hmm. Okay. Diamond children are born with a high level of knowledge and intuitive wisdom. They also... did somebody come up?
Don't mind them. It's right over there in the corner. See it?
Okay.
Yeah, we call that the bird alarm.
Yeah. Let me see. One thing that I've noticed too, thank you, Archangel Raphael's confirming this for me, is diamond children tend to have more physical problems. So they may have more genetic abnormalities, mm-hmm. or physically have something, because they're very high elevated beings. And so when you try to fit something that's so high dimensional and such a high frequency into matter, it can start to split matter. Once again, another reason why a lot of these higher beings have to wait to come in, because the planet's not ready to sustain them.
Oh, Nini said, can a nonverbal child be crystal and rainbow?
They can share a lot of characteristics because of the energy that they have.
Hi, Carol.
I mean, I would say you would probably have a lot of like similarities because we label these things because so we can try and understand. They don't really carry labels, you know. They're just like, this is what I am. So they can be very similar and carry a lot of the same attributes and energy and frequencies within them.
I know, I was thinking the same thing because some of the things you're reading sound like one of my kids and then some sounds like the other one. And I'm like, but they don't really fully go hand in hand with what I've always believed is their like category, you know? So it is very fluid.
And one of the things you can do too is you can call forth your child in a meditation. Or even like when they're sleeping, they communicate with you telepathically. Hell, you can even ask them and they may give you the answer. Martin. Honestly, the younger ones especially.
Yeah.
And I would just be like, say it so nonchalant, like, are you a crystal child or a rainbow child or a diamond child? You know, and like see what they say. But then
or
you
like,
can
what's
also,
your color? Like, what colors are like around you, or you know?
Yeah.
Thank you for the roses.
Thank you, love.
They do share some characteristics.
Yeah, they do. But so it says this is diamond. We're talking about diamond. They become very tired very quickly, and you will see the dark rings under their eyes. This is due to living in our world. They need lots of rest and time to replenish their energies. They may try to avoid the world, which they won't understand. Their parents will be special people who can cope with them, but they may be very misunderstood. They need fresh air, fresh water, and fresh food, and will suffer from sensitivities. They are the most sensitive ones, honestly. They are really sensitive.
Like they're going to get more and more sensitive to mirror reflect how we need
to make the changes
to
here.
make the changes. Yeah.
So much of what we eat is altered genetically. Even wheat is a massively different plant than it was 20 years ago. So they will need a sensitive diet. They may even have more breatharian attitudes, not used to eating food at all. More used to getting energy straight from the ether. So let me tell you,
I've been trying to work on my breatharianism.
This is another thing that you will tend to see amongst these kids too, is a lot of them are grazers. And we're taught to push them away from that. You need to eat a full breakfast. You need to eat a full lunch. You need to eat a full dinner. Or you're going to get hungry. But really, they just love to graze because they only consume just a little bit. Now, sometimes if they're going through big upgrades or their body's physically growing and they need more, then you'll notice this like increase of their food intake. Like they need just to eat. Other than that, they just graze. So, anybody's kids do that?
And it's kind of more like in line with the natural flow of things. Because if you were living in the wild, that's how they would eat. You know, you would pop in a little here, you know. Nancy said both my daughters are like that. Asia, I got solar powered kids. As soon as the sun goes up, they are up. Oh my God. We got one of those.
So crystals and indigos, diamonds are a lot like crystals and indigos where they need a lot of quiet time. Rainbow kids, not so much. Like I said, they're just bebopping around, okay?
Especially guys, your kids that are like, if they are on the spectrum at all. Like I said, I was just reading about this and I was like really fascinated by it. A lot of times when they shut down to other people or parts of the world, big groups, whatever, but then they're more open or like for verbal or whatever with you, it's because the world outside is like, they're like, I don't have time, or like, I don't have the energy to expel here, or I have to process when I'm here. I have to like kind of close part of myself down to process it because it's so big. And so they'll close down more in external circumstances, but then be more open at home where they feel comfortable and they're not overwhelmed with energy and stimulus. If that makes sense. I wonder if I'm meant to have a child sometime soon. I always wonder why it hasn't happened yet. Oh, Caitlin, you will be the best mama. Just
Caitlin, I think there are things that you're supposed to do before you have a child.
Yeah. Get things rolling.
Okay.
Good?
Everything's working.
Awesome.
Everything's working like it's supposed to.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. Thank you both of you.
You're
Nice
welcome.
meeting you.
Nice to meet you.
Take care. Have a great day.
You too.
Thanks. I mean, I got to do more research for my oldest son, but my youngest son definitely sounds like Crystal.
I got to look at something.
Why? We just had to What would you call them?
Okay, so I thought that this was a father and son. They just came to service our heater. And their t-shirts, I swore it said heel on it, but it says Neal, Neal. But I saw it as heel, and it was like on the corner, and I was like trying not to stare at him weird. and I'm like, that would be like, what are the chances? But listen, I saw it as heel, so therefore that's what I'm taking it as. But I looked up close, like I just stared at them out the window, and I'm like, it's Neal, Neal. It's like a father and son, they were working together. But I don't know, that's really funny that like it looked so close to like saying
imagine being like old school, like working men. They just came in and here's these two women sitting in their house with lights talking about ETs and like
talking about crystal children and
they just
stuff. They
entered
handled
into
it really well.
They did. They had to have felt it. Feels good when you walk in here because we carry good energy. But boy, can it get weird to people who are not a part of our reality.
I liked their vibration. I don't think they could have made it in if I don't think it would have worked out because they were supposed to come later. So I think that whatever it is, like people will cross your path when they're supposed to, either for us or for them. And so there may be something that one of them is dealing with, or both of them, that they needed to be part of this vibration for today.
Yeah,
they weren't supposed to come till later.
Yeah,
they weren't
they're
supposed
like
to come
a
for
couple
like
hours
2 more
early.
hours. Yeah. So I don't know. But Asia said, "Ever seen the cartoon Wild Thornberries? My son acts like Donnie, the feral cave child." I loved that show, the Wild Thornberries. That's so funny. I love it so much. Honestly, that's incredible. Is that about the kid thing, Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe we were talking about the guys, but
oh yeah.
Emma said, I couldn't have a baby for years, and I knew he would be a boy way before I had him. Yeah.
That's so crazy. Because you
do know.
I always felt like before, because I didn't want to have kids for a really long time, then all of a sudden this urge came over me, and it was super strong, and I became like baby obsessed, and it came out of nowhere because it was very selfish before that. And I would explain it to people as I felt like there was a baby knocking. I felt like there was somebody knocking on my uterus, like, excuse me, it's time. And I felt it again when my second was like ready to incarnate. And then I waited to feel it again, and I didn't. So I stopped.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Rach said, I do have a rainbow baby that came after a miscarriage, and rainbow child makes sense.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Aww.
Yes. And I love that. I love any chance that I can get. Now, I do always try to confirm, so I'm not like... But most of the time, women that experience miscarriage and then have a baby after, and they call it their rainbow baby, is the same soul coming back in. Mm-hmm. And I love to be able to confirm that and tell mamas that. Mm-hmm. Because... It's like, look, you never lost this child. You never lost this child. This child came back.
They just weren't ready.
Your body, or it may be something that you had to learn to go through, experiencing that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, most of the time it's that same soul that's coming in.
Yeah. You blessed me with that message. Oh, it is so healing. It's like, knowing that is it. And I've heard it in I remember watching like Psychic Kids stories. I used to watch this show called Psychic Kids, and they were like basically saying like these kids, these souls are like, they put in a toe and they're like, nope, not ready. And then they like put it again. Nope, not ready. And then they're like, okay, now I'm ready. And a lot of times they're waiting for you. They're helping you clear and work on yourself. That's why it's so emotional having a miscarriage, because it does shake you up and it like gets you to make changes.
And there are times that souls will try to come
connect more
in
with your heart,
or they see a more viable opportunity to come in earlier, so they may switch their contracts. Like, okay, I know it's supposed to come in this time, but this is probably the more viable route for me. And sometimes it doesn't work. So then you have a miscarriage. Or and because there's so many factors that have to go into play there. Geographically, is that where their soul needs to land to come in for the energy and the vibrations that are going to sustain them their entire incarnation? Do they have the right parents? Do they have, is the mother's vessel ready to carry that child? Okay, there's so much that has to go into like nailing that and getting it right. And that's why we create these contracts. But sometimes things get flipped around because we have free will, and then it might not work out. And then there's other times where it's a lesson for that parent to go through. And so on and so forth. A lot of times that could be the signifier, and I don't feel like this is for anyone in here. I'm just saying, so you can understand. Sometimes that happens to parents so that the mom will leave that current relationship and get in a new relationship because that's what you contracted for yourself in your own chart. I'm going to have a miscarriage here. This is going to make me wake up to the fact that I'm not in the right relationship. I'm going to leave, and then I'll have my child. There's so many reasons for this. Yeah. It's crazy.
Caitlin just clarified. She was talking about the guys coming in and us doing our thing in the vibrations. So thank you, Caitlin, for explaining that. I wanted to throw in how a good friend of mine, when she first started trying to get pregnant, she was leaving to go on a trip. I can't remember exactly how this went down, but she was leaving to go on a trip to China. And she was like convinced, she's like, this is like, we're going to be relaxed. We're going to be there for a couple weeks. This is where we're going to conceive our child. And she was having trouble with it. And I just remember intuitively because you talked about location. And I told her, I was like, he doesn't want to be conceived in China. Yeah. Like I can't, because she was having all this trouble and she was getting frustrated. I was like, he doesn't want to be conceived in China. So that just that memory just came in as you were talking about that. Location is key. Yeah. Love that. Oh yeah. That's how
Miss Haley said, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I've always wondered why I love children so much, but didn't want to have any. Now, here's something too, Miss Haley.
May change how you feel about them.
Look, this ain't it's not for everyone, right? Because we got to be able to bring each other in. We do have to be able to bring each other in. But there are a group of starseeds that they're like, no, I'm not having children. Because with children, you do take on added karma that you have to transmute here in this life, because most starseeds, like, we're not leaving with any karma. We're not leaving with it. And karma has a bad rap, so if you don't, like, understand fully what karma is, you gotta look a little bit further than what we're usually taught, okay? But there's a lot that comes with that then you are doing more of, unless your mission involves your children, which a lot of them bringing in, that's part of your mission, right? But there are a lot of starseeds that, like, it's just, they're not gonna have kids. Like, they're like, that's not part of their mission. Yeah. Yeah.
How do you deal with a lack of sleep?
Oh, Jackie said
The batteries that never run out. Oh, Nooni was asking. Or she was asking Nooni. Yeah. I'm so happy I found you two. We're so happy that you're here. Yay! We're so happy to have you as part of our tribe.
Yes, I was told that with my youngest. She had to go back to redo something in her contract.
Wow, that's so crazy.
Yeah.
A lot of times, guys, when you have anything traumatic in your life, when you come to the spiritual side of things, I always say, like, make it make sense. This is where it makes sense. And that was one of the things that, like, that really drew me to this realm, was because I was always looking for things to make sense, and they never did in the regular world. But on a spiritual level, they make sense. And a lot of times when you make sense of things, you stop holding on to the trauma, because you see how it was actually, like, important, right? It helps you clear it.
She waited to come back during COVID. I was a little afraid I would mess them up. Yeah, I think we all have, like, definitely, I think we all have that. We're always, like, worried. I still look at my kids and I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
Damn, but you go back, like, when I healed myself, I started healing my kids. And they literally in turn healed me. And now everything I do, I'm like, we are such conscious parents, because we're like, you know, sometimes I'll turn around and I'm like, can you just wait a second? Or something along that lines. They'll walk out of the kitchen and I'm like, damn it, Lindsay, I'm going to pay for that one later. Like, they're like, I'm like, you know, like, I'm like, that just fucked them up, you know?
But that's conscious parenting, is being aware that you're probably fucking them up.
Yeah. It's got to be balanced.
And that energy that you're putting in of being conscious is actually very, like, it's very healing. You're self-aware. Yeah. But I really feel like for you, Miss Haley, like, when you, when you're drawn to kids, but you don't want to have your own kids, I really feel like you have this ability to connect with kids that isn't tainted by the responsibility. It's like being a grandparent. Like I always said, I'm like, I can't wait to be a grandparent because I can't wait to have that feeling of like not having to do all the responsible things and just get it, like allowing myself to connect with kids and like shine together. Not that we can't do that with our own kids, but it is sometimes harder because there's so much else that goes into it. So like you not being drawn to have them is probably to keep your love for them, like your ability to connect with them in a purer state where it's not influenced by any of that.
So I just had I have archangels here. We always have them.
Can I just tell Emma really quick? Emma, link in our bio. Click the link and there's a little spot that says book an appointment, and there's a lot of different options. So if you get confused, just message us either here on Instagram, and we can help you figure out which one is the best for you. Okay, go ahead. Archangels.
Thank you.
I know when I interrupt her, I have to remember where I left her off, or else I mess her up and she gets upset. Thanks for the roses, Caitlin.
Archangel Gabriel was saying this is really interesting because I did not know this. Mm-hmm. He's Archangel Gabriel is like the sweetest being and so freaking powerful, but it's so cute because his personality has a little bit of like the nerd, and I just love that. But Archangel Gabriel is saying that miscarriages are often can often be a signifier of the healing stage in the vessel preparing for the child. So there's actually not a soul attached to that to that pregnancy. It's like it's to heal trauma that's stuck in the womb.
Oh, wow.
That hurt. I just smacked my leg. I don't know why I did that.
That was a knee slapper.
That's
interesting.
a real
knee slapper.
Thank you, Archangel Gabriel.
And Miss H, yes, you are a starseed for sure. For sure. My kids gave me a sense of purpose. Yeah, and sometimes that is like they help you step into your purpose.
I'm a
super cool aunt, though.
I love that.
Yeah. That's really important too. Mm-hmm. Like I said, you're not tainted by the drubs of motherhood.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that is a beautiful thing. It is a beautiful thing. We all have different paths we're supposed to take to get to where we need to be. And either way, it's like you get to show like love and light. And so it doesn't really matter how we get there. You know,
it's different for every soul. Like if you had children, think about it. Would you have stopped everything that you're doing and just completely devoted everything to your children, which would then pull you away from doing your mission and your purpose?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
See what I'm saying? So it's like, there's always a reason. A reason.
My kids came in right when I started my awakening process. And it was literally, I was pregnant and taking healing classes, like a 2-year healing, Eden Energy Medicine practitioner course. And it was like right as I finished up, I had 2 babies. And then it was like the self-work started, because then it was like I'm being kind of pulled out of myself and having to like focus on beings outside of myself and also work on me. And that was very balancing that was very important for me to learn.
Yay!
We achieved our life goal. Yay!
Woo-hoo! You guys are awesome.
Thank you so much. Goal achieved.
Sweet.
Thank you guys.
We'll put it back up here, but thank you guys so much.
We just like when it makes the sound.
Gosh, Caitlin and Martin.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much,
Thanks,
guys.
Miss Haley. Thank you.
Woohoo!
Woohoo! Thank you guys so much. The more we interact on here, the more we show up for other people who are ready to like hear this stuff and ready to connect. So thank you, Caitlin.
Thanks, Caitlin.
Quote of the day: sometimes the little things in life are more than enough.
Yep.
Oh, yes, thank you. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And I like this one that we have on our windowsill. Little things often big things have small beginnings. Mm-hmm. So a lot of times when we were talking in the beginning about manifesting, and we tend to look for the big end result. and sometimes think that we're never going to get there. But those tiny little beginnings are the seed planted that will start it to grow and bloom into what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw in a quote now that I heard.
Okay.
This is really cool. This is really cool.
Okay.
It's like one day or day one. You decide.
Ooh.
Yeah. I don't know if that's really a quote, but yeah, I heard it. And I was like, that hit me. I was like, wow. That makes a lot of sense. It's always like what I always say. I tell people, like I tell our clients and stuff, I'm like, choose your uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. And those of you who have worked with us, like, you know, I say this all the time. Mm-hmm. Choose your uncomfortable. Because you're going to be uncomfortable if you're growing. Right? If you're growing, you're glowing up, you're changing, your growth game's impeccable, you's going to be uncomfortable. So choose your uncomfortable. You're going to be uncomfortable being stuck and stagnant and not making the changes that you know you need to make, or not making the choices or the decisions that you're terrified to make because you know it's going to create change in your life. Or you can be uncomfortable moving through new territory, moving through these challenges that you have to face and going through them anyway, even though you're terrified and scared to death. You can still do it. But either way, you're going to be uncomfortable. So why not pick the one that's moving you forward? Okay, instead of you being stuck and stagnant. Because especially if you're a Starseed Light worker, which all of y'all, if you're on this live, you are going to have to move. You're going to have to move at some point. You're going to have to move because you got a job to do.
Like we say to our youngest, you can do it the easy way,
that's right,
or you can do it the hard way.
Yeah, that's what he said. You do the easy way
is like you're gonna just do what you have to do because it's your responsibility and get it going. And the hard way is I'm gonna fight you the whole way, and then we're gonna argue, and then it's gonna delay our time to hang out and delay this, and you're not gonna get dessert and blah blah blah. So we're always like, you can do it the easy way or the hard way because either way it's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen, and you're going to have to make that choice eventually. Okay? And you can do that before there's more circumstances you have to work through.
Mm-hmm. Good morning, Michelle.
Good morning. Or more evidential things that happen because you waited longer. So more and more things happen that weren't in your favor. And sometimes divinely we have to do that. But ask yourself, one day or day one? I like that one.
I can't tell you how many times in my previous marriage that I found myself like alone, upset, thinking about entertaining what it would be like to just leave. But I was like, but I'm never going to do that. I'm not going to do that. And because it wasn't serving me. It wasn't fully serving me anymore. And then one day Spirit made it easy. They were like, we're gonna like, you know, if you're not gonna make that choice, we're gonna make it for you. And then you're just like, shit, wait, I'm not ready. Wait. So you really can like make the choice to, even if you're like, I don't really know which way I'm supposed to go, start to ask the universe, like, okay, this is what I'm feeling. What's the next step? What's the next step? Like, what? Just show me where to go, and I'm willing to entertain it. You know, because we all kind of know, like, this isn't matching my vibration. Michelle, you're like, that's exactly what happened to me. Yeah. Because the universe will, like, feel. Really? Yeah. We all have these little inklings, but we stop ourselves from making changes out of fear. And it's literally only about fear. Because, will I be taken care of? Will I have my needs met? Will I be loved? Will I be...
Yes.
Will I survive?
Yeah.
You know, but when you say yes to the change, the universe supports that because the universe is coming in and it's like, you're doing it. Here's more things to keep doing it. Here's my support. And like, we tend to think like, why are things not working out when we know we're not where we're supposed to be? Mm-hmm. And we're like holding on. We're like, come on, and trying to manifest and trying to create and but you know, you're supposed to move, or you know, you're supposed to break up with that person, or you know, you're supposed to quit that job and you're not doing it.
Yeah, and you guys don't lose sight of the fact that you are in a matrix, okay?
It's a game.
It's a simulation of your mind, which you're seeing that is there, and it's all for your own highest good. It is so easy to get caught up in what we all believe, especially we go on autopilot, is believing is our reality. Like, this, my living room's right here, my front door's right there. I'm going to walk out, go pick up my kids from school this afternoon. I'm going to come home, I'm going to make dinner, and it could be, this is what's in my conscious reality, conscious in reality, conscious reality. But what is truth? What is truth of reality? That you are a soul that's in this reality right now to learn, to grow, expand. You're constantly moving towards the remembrance of who you are. So, it's easy to get consumed. Like they say, it's hard to see the forest through the trees. Okay? This, your everyday things, what you're experiencing, this is your trees. Okay? You got to find the forest, which is not losing sight of what you're trying to do and where you're trying to move and how you're trying to help yourself. Okay? Post-it note that shit. I'm telling you, write this stuff down on Post-it notes. Remind yourself to ground. Put it on the back of your front door. Okay? Set a timer on your phone. Go through and make sure that you're reminding yourself to put on your spiritual armor. That you're getting up every morning and that you're creating an intent for yourself so that you are making use of your day outside of what is expected of you in this matrix, in this reality. What is your soul doing today? What is your soul doing today? Are you trying to connect more? Are you trying to work more on that relationship with yourself? Are you trying to connect with your guide so that you can understand more? Are you trying to work on your vessel so that you can hold more energy and more of your true authenticity can come out of this vessel? Make sure that's on your to-do list. And you're only going to know that if you're waking up every morning and you're saying, what is my soul going to do today? How am I going to grow closer to my goals? How am I going to move further in finding the remembrance of who I am? Because that's where the freaking magic happens. Okay? Because when you start to do that, what am I going to heal today so that I can get closer to the bottom of that treasure chest, that trove that holds my authenticity, my essence, so that I can come up and shine and I don't have to be running this rat race and stuck in this false idea of this is what I'm doing. I saw another TikTok yesterday. This chick said life expectancy generally, okay? You get 75 springs, you get 75 summers, you get 75 winters, and 75 falls, and you get 75 winters. 75, that's it. What are you going to do with it? You're not here that long. And we get so caught up in this, so you need to plan, and it's not wrong. It's not abnormal. It's designed that way. It's designed for us to step outside of that and to see. Don't waste any more time, because the faster you heal yourself, the more you step into your authenticity, the more you step into reality. When you step into reality, you see your gifts and your abilities. You learn how to manifest. You learn how to create, and you do exactly what the you came here to do. And then you're living the life you want to live. Mm-hmm.
Passion, purpose.
So Post-it notes.
Joy. Mm-hmm.
Aim small, miss small.
Yeah.
Post-it note that sucker on your door, on your fridge, on your whatever. Write it on your hand, old school. Make it your phone background. Ask yourself, what is my soul going to do today to move me closer to what it is that I'm here to do? And you'll get the answer. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if you need help, we're here to help.
Grace is like, preach. Yes, mama.
Preach.
Yes.
The lie that we believe is that we always have more time when we really don't know how much time we have.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's why I love that quote. You're like, one day or day one. And I know I'm famous for that. Or I was famous for that, with saying, you used to say to me all the time, you're like, stop saying one day. Stop saying one day. I want it now. Like, why can't we have it? 75 winters is too many for me. All right, we'll just focus on summer and spring.
Yeah. So you can geographically move yourself to where you may have 2 summers and a fall and a spring.
Yeah, you could change it so you don't have all those winters anymore.
Yep.
You can make that
Work
choice.
smarter, not harder.
I love that. Yeah. I think it's time for us to wrap up, sweetheart.
I know. We got other works to do.
Yeah. So, but yeah, tomorrow is subscriber only chat. So if you haven't subscribed yet, a lot of perks. You get to do the one-on-one with chat with us on Tuesdays, and we also we have some other you get little emojis to use, and you get you get to, what's the other thing you get to be part of our raffles. We give away free stuff. So we'll be giving away merch. We'll be giving away,
you can also
mini sessions.
Direct message us.
Direct message us on TikTok. Yes. So if you haven't subscribed yet, check that out. And everything supports us and helps us keep doing what we're doing and show up every day for you guys and to build this tribe and to keep shining our light.
So every little bit is so much appreciated.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. this is our mission, and this is what we're here to do. And so, like, we're so thankful for everything, all the love, support, and blessings.
Thanks,
everything
Emma.
from
It was a
you guys.
blessing to have you here today, all of you.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
Like we always say, we're all walking each other home.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're all in this together.
You too, Crystal. Thank you.
Yeah.
And we will be back tomorrow at
Yes.
10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yes.
All right.
All right. We
Love
love you
you
guys.
guys.
Have a great day.